Good evening, wherever and whenever you're listening to this program. My name is Ken Reed. I'll be your moderator for this forum. The League of Women Voters of the St. Petersburg area would like to offer a special welcome to the Kenneth City residents, as this forum is for the council seat in Kenneth City. The League of Women Voters has been celebrated 100 years of informing voters and defending democracy. Please visit vote411.org for complete and unbiased information on voting and the candidates. The forum rules are intended to provide all candidates with fair and equal representation. I will ask the candidates a series of questions, and each will have 1 minute to answer that question. At the conclusion of the forum, each candidate will be given 2 minutes for closing statements. The League solicited questions from the Kenneth City community last week. On behalf of the League and myself, I would like to take this opportunity to express my thanks for the sacrifice and dedication the candidates are giving. Public service is often thankless, and you do it at the expense of time from your work, your family, and your friends. So again, on behalf of the League, thank you so much for participating in this important endeavor. Please note that the views that are expressed by the candidates do not represent those of the League of Women Voters. I'd like to introduce the first candidate, Larry Houft.
Good day. Nice to be here.
Thank you, Larry. And now I'd like to introduce candidate Kyle Cummings.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Our next candidate is candidate Timothy Herbert.
Hello, Ken. Thanks for having me here.
Our fourth candidate tonight is candidate Barbara Roberts.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
And our fifth candidate tonight is candidate Chris Vanderkoy.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, League of Women Voters. We appreciate you putting this on for us tonight. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that all of you can make it tonight. So we're going to go right into the questions. And I'm going to begin this in alphabetical order, and then we'll rotate the person who gets the first response as each new question comes up. So I'm going to start off with candidate Cummings. What do you think is the most important issue facing our small town?
So thanks for having me. You know, just to base one is tough. You know, I've lived here my whole life, grew up right outside of Kenneth City. My parents actually still live in the same home I grew up in. But you know, there's a few things that are important to me, and I'm sure the residents as well. You know, some of the roads, you know, is a very important point. Not only roads, the drainage is a huge concern. But like I said, you know, you really got to get into the budget and really make some good executive decisions, and not just at one or two things, but everything as a whole, because there's signs, you know, that need to be taken care of. You know, it's just there's a lot of different budgeting concerns. It's you know, I've been in government for 20 years. And
I know it's a fast 1 minute. That's all right. It's okay.
Yep. Sorry about that.
No worries. It's a tough format.
I could go on forever.
I know, right? It's like the lightning round. So I appreciate you. I'd like to offer the same question to the second candidate, candidate Houft. What do you think is the most important issue facing our small town?
Having lived here a long time, one thing that I always consider the most important issue is our revenue. Small town, we do have somewhat limited revenue generating opportunities. And every other problem that we have or any issue that needs to be addressed always comes from, do we have enough revenue for that? There are different ideas on how to do that. But right now, we have a lot of projects in the pipeline. Everything costs a lot of money. So things move a little bit slow because of the amount of money that we do have available. I see that one thing that we need to do always is be aware of every department. What are the costs to run it, and how much is it going to cost tomorrow, next week, next year, because everything keeps escalating like any other business. Costs keep going up. Thank you.
Thank you. And now the same question to candidate Herbert. What do you think is the most important issue facing our small town?
Well, I think the biggest one is economic development. We have the empty Kmart site. We have some business opportunities along 54th Avenue. I think we could build some revenue by, having some unique businesses enter our community, and that could help alleviate pressure off our town residents with taxes. And I'll throw in another honorable mention. I think there needs to be more communication from the town to the residents. I think there could be some more transparency, and I think economic development is probably on top though. Thank you.
Thank you for that. The same question to candidate Roberts. What do you think is the most important issue facing our small town?
I too agree that we have a lot of economical issues going on right now. We do have a lot of projects in the works, and the main concern for me with the economic issues is that we do these projects one time and we do them correctly with engineering and all of that, so that we don't have to do them again later on with add-ons. And we have a lot of empty buildings that we need to fill so that we can generate revenue.
And thank you for that. So that was the first round. I think you guys got the hang of that. I'm going to offer this last question, the same question now to our final candidate, candidate Van der Kooi. What do you think is the most important issue facing our small town?
Well, there's a few. Our town is great. There's a couple smaller issues. One of the main issues, however, is transparency in our government. We need to be listening to the population of Kenneth City. That's why the Lord gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen more and speak less, and try to take a little bit of what the community wants and sprinkle that in every time that we go to a town council meeting. We also have some drainage issues and some road issues. Our gutters, our sewage system is in need of repair. But as far as community investment, we should be investing in things like the Kmart. So we have a residual income, and it'll stop the constant increase of taxes year after year here in Kenneth City. We need to be forward thinking and start to invest in property and other things to prevent our citizens from always having to brunt the majority of the burden.
Thank you for that. And now the second question, I'm going to begin with candidate Van der Kooi. Please describe your involvement with the Kenneth City community.
My involvement is every day. I walk, my wife and I walk our little dog Cody every day, and I am not one to shy away from conversation. So I have a tendency to speak to my neighbors a lot. So my involvement is just, walking around, talking to folks, and I believe as a good council person, that is probably should be a priority to speak with the constituency of this town. I learned a lot from just walking around and talking. I also have conversations with Matthew Campbell, the town manager, to find out what's in the works and what's going on. And I have started to attend council meetings as well to see what the goings are in the community.
Thank you very much. And now I'm going to pose the same question to candidate Cummings. Please describe your involvement with the Kenneth City community.
I also get around the city. I'm always going through it. My parents live just on the other side of the city. I have a very young son, and so we're always bike riding in the neighborhoods. We're always going up to the nice park. He's always playing on the playground. And I have a lot of friends. Friends I grew up with that still live in Kenneth City, new friends I've made. I've also talked to Matt Campbell as far as, some plans in the making. But I love this community, but we definitely, I visit some of the lakes just to show my son, he likes to piddle around the lakes. But just, biking, playing with my son, getting around, getting out in the neighborhood, meeting good people and talking with them, getting their opinions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Candidate Hauft, please describe your involvement with the Kenneth City community.
Well, I have lived in this town since 1958. Been here 63 years. I've seen a lot of changes. But recently, in the last 18 years, I've been involved with some of the politics. I've been attending council meetings for the last 18 years. I virtually have been to every single meeting during that time. So I've been involved. I've been at the podium during these meetings, giving my opinions or asking questions. I'm also a volunteer for a lot of the Kenneth City events that we've had. 4th of July and so forth. I put up the lights, the Christmas trees in the town park on 54th Avenue. That's my baby. But I have been involved in the politics in our town, like I said, for 18 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now the same question to candidate Herbert. Please describe your involvement with the Kenneth City community.
Well, I guess first and foremost, I'm a friend and neighbor to a lot of folks around the town. I'm always willing to help when I can or when I'm asked. I'm a member of the Kenneth City Social Club. I go to the parks and the lakes. I love to fish, bring my 3-year-old son around. Just enjoying what the town has to offer and being available when I'm needed. And I will continue to do so.
Thank you very much. Candidate Roberts, please describe your involvement with the Kenneth City community.
I have been on the previous council for 6 years. I go around my neighborhood and other neighborhoods, and I talk to residents about issues that they might have to hear what their voice is and the concerns that the residents have. And I attend all the meetings at Kenneth City so that I'm aware of the projects and any issues that are going on, what the next steps are for our roads and our stop signs and any projects that are out there.
Thank you very much. And now for the third question, I'm going to start with candidate Roberts. If elected, what do you hope to accomplish?
I hope to accomplish filling in our occupancy at Kmart, bringing in more revenue so our tax dollars don't keep rising. I hope to work with the council so that we can make good choices and so that we are aware of what the residents want and we follow and focus on what they want. After all, the town is here because of our residents and it's for our residents. And I would like to think that we're doing the right thing for the town and the residents.
Thank you. Candidate Van der Kooi, if elected, what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, first and foremost, I want to be the voice of the people. I want to listen to them. For so long, government at all levels has gotten out of control and thought that they knew better than the people, than their constituents. And I believe that the government is broken because of it. My goal and my plan, if the folks of this town are kind enough to vote for me and put me in as a council member, is to listen to them and take their concerns and ideas to the council to try to better this community and make it a place that's continue to keep it a place that's wonderful and a great place to raise children as well.
Thank you. Candidate Cummings, if elected, what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, first of all, I love this town. I love this area. Like I said, I grew up here, so it's very important to me. It's very important. Like I said, I have friends here, and so it's important to hear the voices. It's important to hear the people. It's important to fill the Kmarts. It's important to, it's hard to say one specific thing when you care so much about this town. You just want to do the best job you can for the people. You can bring up every topic: roads, signs, drainage, just hearing the people and trying to make an executive decision the best, not just the decision for you, but the decision for the people, and working with the other council members, working as a team, and just getting things accomplished. And that, that's it. Thank you.
Sorry about that. I had a problem with my own mic. Candidate Hoft. I'm sorry, I mispronounced that. Candidate Hoft.
That's close enough.
Please describe your involvement with the Kansas City community.
Oh, I'm sorry. As I said before, I've been involved in going to meetings and paying close attention as to what goes on in our town as far as infrastructure, everything that goes on, police department. Major supporter of the police department for a zillion years. I've been involved with volunteering, like I said, for 4th of July parades and so forth, Halloween, Christmas time. As far as involvement, I've been a councilman for the last 2 years, and I am very vocal when it comes to our town and at meetings to try to initiate people on council to get things done. Now I'm on the other end, and I expect the council or expect the community to hold me to that same level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Candidate Herbert, if elected, what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, Ken, having 20 years public service experience, I know that I can offer a good perspective on how government works and the expectations of the residents. So I think using that perspective, I could work along with the other members of council, leaders of the city, to come together to see what projects are on hand and what we can do and how we can meet the public's expectations. I know a lot of times in local government, things get buried with red tape, and it's kind of hard to get some progress. But hopefully, after seeing what we have on tap in there, I can help work with the other council to get things done and to earn the trust of the residents. And like several others have mentioned, the roads, the signs, things like that. There's studies, there's CIP programs that could be developed. There's yearly ongoing projects that could be developed to keep up with these things so they don't get way behind or way off track. And so that's just what I'm interested in doing is getting involved, getting my feet in there and seeing what happens. Thank you.
And thank you. We're going to move on to question number 4, and this will go first off to candidate Herbert. Do you support our local police department?
Oh, without a doubt, 100%. Living in a small town here, Kenneth City, they offer us valuable customer service. They offer us valuable protection for our families and friends and loved ones. And to see anything else would be a disservice to the residents in this community. So absolutely 100%. Thank you.
And thank you. Candidate Roberts, do you support our police department?
I support our police department 100%. I see the conditions of unincorporated areas that don't have police departments, and the homes have no value. They're not kept up. It's just messy town. I think that our police department go above and beyond what the sheriff does. They come out very quickly. They do code ordinances if something's going wrong, and they put notes on our cars if we've left them unlocked or if our homes have been unlocked. They do that, and I just think that they go above and beyond for one of the towns that has the lowest paid police officers.
Thank you very much. Candidate Van der Kooi, do you support our police department?
Yes, sir, I do. I support them 100%. I believe in law and order. That's what keeps us civil. I also know that our police department does far more than just police our streets. They do a lot of things. They inspect, they check for code enforcement. They do a lot of community projects that help. So they're far more than just a police force. They are really one of the backbones of this community, and I think they are an integral part of Kenneth City.
And thank you very much. And now I pose the same question to candidate Cummings. Do you support our police department? Absolutely.
I think that is one of the most important elements to Kenneth City, is having a fine police department that you can call your own. I actually, believe it or not, grew up within this area, not specifically in Kenneth City, lived in St. Pete, a couple blocks away outside the district, and actually moved to Kenneth City because of the police department. So I support them. They do great things. They're very personable. They're always waving, saying hi. You have questions. They're stopping, talking to the kids. Very helpful. They do. And the code enforcement is phenomenal. I mean, that just makes our city look so much better. So it's just a wonderful thing they do. It's very important. I actually think it's a great deterrent for the criminals when you have a nice, fine police department like Kenneth City. Thank you.
And thank you very much. Candidate Hauft, do you support our police department?
That almost goes without saying. I've been involved with the police department and supporting them for a lot of years. Go into online, look at some of the comments I've made during the times that we had some turmoil in the police department, and I have always supported them. They're a great agency. They're a great community policing organization. It's great to have them. And I truly support them, and it is a benefit to our town. You know, that's one of the selling points for people to come into this town, knowing that we have a great police department that is always out there patrolling around, and they are truly appreciated. Thanks.
And thank you. Now we're going to go on to question number 5, and we'll start with candidate Hauft. What do you think is a key problem for Kenneth City?
I would say, I go back to one of my earlier comments, is revenue generating. Everything continues to increase in cost. That's just inflation, and there's not a whole lot that we can do about that. So we always have to be working a little harder, a little smarter to keep our costs down as best that we can with what we have. We do have a town manager. He's always trying to look at a way to save money and resources, and we have to literally keep on that same path. We have limited resources of revenue in this town, and that will always be an issue here. But again, it's a great town, and we're always going to stay that way. Thanks.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Herbert. What do you think is a key problem for Kenneth City?
Well, I'm going to go with what I heard most, probably from walking around the neighborhoods, talking to the residents and getting their feedback. Safety on the streets, the signs, the speeders, things of that nature. They overwhelmingly, from all the folks I talk to, talk about safety on the street, speeding, because, for instance, down on 49th Avenue all the way is a cut-through road for Dixie Hollins. There are folks on that road that are worried about their kids playing in the yards. And then you got people speeding by, running the stop signs. I know there's other issues out there that also deserve attention, but I would just like to bring that one up because to me, that's what I feel like was voiced the most from the residents, and along 46th Avenue also. Definitely public safety is probably one of the biggest ones. Thank you.
And thank you. Same question to candidate Roberts. What do you think is a key problem for Kenneth City?
The key problem, I think, is public safety also. I know where I live, we have a lot of speeders, and the residents complain all the time about the cars and trucks going by fast. They're afraid to let their children outside without being right there. And we've even had signs up and they still continue to speed. And we're a cul-de-sac, so we don't even, go, not even a through street. And revenue, we need to generate revenue to help save our residents money. Instead of our taxes going up every year, we need to get some new buildings in here, new jobs, new everything, so that people want to come here to work and own businesses so that we can generate money to help our residents with the revenue. Thank you.
Thank you for that response. Same question to candidate Van der Kooi. What do you think is a key problem for Kenneth City?
From walking the streets of this town and speaking with the community, many of them have a real problem with Chapter 54 residential parking and vehicles. A lot of the elderly folks do not have the funds to extend their driveway, widen their driveway, or do the things that the city is requiring them to do. Folks that have a 30-foot, 4-inch RV that none of the neighbors seem to mind are being forced to put those things in storage. So a lot of folks are concerned about that, having to park vehicles in the road so that the children have to maneuver parked vehicles when they're playing. That's a safety issue. And so a lot of the problems that I'm hearing are that the folks don't feel as though the current council is listening to them. So I would like to be the candidate that listens to them and takes their concerns to the council instead of the council seemingly dictating to the people.
Thank you for that response. Candidate Cummings, what do you think is a key problem for Kenneth City?
It's hard to just name one, but to me, having a young child, safety is a concern, especially on my block. We probably have 10 or 15 kids riding up and down the street, and there's constant speeders just flying. They don't even slow down when they see the kids, and maybe seeing more speeds slow down, kids at play, or posted speed limits in the neighborhoods would be the first thing. But there's a whole bunch of topics. Revenue is very important. Working with the town manager to try to get not only just revenue, but finding grants. There's so many grants out there that could help Kenneth City for improvements. And huge for me is drainage in the streets. I mean, those are things, it doesn't happen overnight, but it's something that needs to be, you need to put the time in, and it really needs to come up, be budgeted, and try to make it happen. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to move on to question number 6. And this will begin with candidate Cummings. How do you think the city should address concerns about maintaining low positivity COVID rates while still keeping businesses open?
Great question. I mean, I agree with the masks. I don't know if you're in your private home or private setting and you have a reduced number of people that's totally necessary. But when you go in a facility, when you go places, you need to make sure you're wearing your mask, you're practicing the safety protocols that have seemed to be helping. You need to wash your hands. You go into the stores, you need to make sure that's a mandate when you walk into the stores in Kansas City, when you walk into the town halls, when you walk in, you need to have your mask on. You need to have hand sanitizer. You need to wash your hands. I just think all those safety precautions that will help eliminate it. And, hopefully the vaccine, we don't want this COVID thing to continue. We want to push for what's best for the people here in Kansas City and the safety of the people here in Kansas City. So I agree with masks, and thank you.
Same question to candidate Haupt. How do you think the city should address concerns about maintaining low positivity percentage of COVID while keeping businesses open?
Well, right now there are rules in the county dictating how businesses should be regarding masks. You'll go around to a business and you'll see on their door, mask required. Simply follow that rule. Tennessee doesn't need to pass anything, any type of new rule. The rules are already there. It's a matter of whether the public will follow those rules. Stop the basic mode of transmission of this virus. Wearing a mask is essential. Social distancing, everything that we already know, keep doing it. Don't be basically foolish, and take a chance, especially with other people that might be in your family that may be at more risk. So Kansas City really doesn't have to deal or do much more than what is already on the books in the county. Thanks.
Same question to candidate Herbert. How do you think the city should address concerns about maintaining low positivity percentages of COVID while keeping businesses open?
Well, I think definitely we need to keep businesses open. And I also think, the CDC puts out the guidelines. For the most part, the average, person follows those guidelines. As been mentioned, social distancing, the mask, washing your hands, all that. So I'm not sure how much more we could beat that horse, but just continue to encourage folks to follow the CDC guidelines to protect themselves and their families. And, hopefully we can see some positive results with the vaccine that comes out, and maybe we can start getting back to somewhat normal again. But in the meantime, everybody's got to stay safe. Everybody's got to do their part to, protect themselves and, hopefully stay healthy. So thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Roberts, how do you think the city should address concerns about maintaining low positivity percentages of COVID while keeping businesses open?
Well, I think we just need to keep doing what the CDC is recommending, wearing a mask, but it's important to wear the mask correctly. So many times I see people wearing the mask under their nose or under their chin, and that's not going to help keep the COVID-19 from spreading. We also social distancing 6 feet. Don't be in large gatherings with people at parties and that. And for those that feel the vaccine is right for them, to get the vaccine. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Vanderkoy, same question.
Well, I again concur with the others that we do need to follow the CDC guidelines. I am in upper management with Home Depot, and we've been doing a pretty good job of that. I also believe that keeping a 6-foot distance from one another while in large public places such as Winn-Dixie or a large shopping center is really a good idea. I think that COVID is still fairly new to our scientists, and I think they learn new things all the time. I think we need to keep our ears open and listen to what the officials tell us to do. Wear a mask, sanitize our hands, keep a social distance, and try to care about one another, because what we do is protecting others. And I believe it's important, especially for the elderly population of our community. We really want to go the extra mile to protect them, because they seem to be the most susceptible to this horrible pandemic.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to move on to question number 7, and we're going to start again with you, candidate Vanderkoy. What makes you the most qualified candidate for this seat?
Well, I'll start by saying I have a servant heart. I believe that that's important. Um, I'm doing it for the right reasons. I'm doing it because I want to serve my community. That's the bottom line. I want to do the things that the community needs done so that we can all just be happy here and nobody has to complain about roads or drainage or cars parked in the road or cars parked in someone's yard. We can learn to communicate together and go to the town council and start doing the things that the community wants done so we can be happy and do the right things and not have all these rules all the time that a lot of people don't like. We should listen more, and that's what I want to bring to the council.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Cummings. What makes you the most qualified candidate for this seat?
So the people are the most important. You have to listen. That's huge. But after that, I have 20 years of public service. I work for Dallas County Schools, and I'm in the construction side of things with the facilities department. So I've been in project management. I'm actually currently working on a $4.3 million project to redo all the video management software. I do all the technology for them, all the low voltage systems, access control, security. So I have a lot of project management background. I know budgeting. I know how to deal with contractors, RFQs, RFPs, proposals, all that. I have a lot of experience in the management sector. I also own my own business for 7 years. I was a business owner and have a lot of experience dealing with people, working with people, and getting things accomplished. Thank you.
Candidate House, same question. What makes you the most qualified candidate for this seat?
Well, I'm a doctor of chiropractic, and I've been in business for myself for over 30 years. A lot of business experience in dealing with people, my patients, as far as understanding and listening to people. That is part of my expertise. I've also been involved in this town from a child to now. And I've seen the changes and things that need to be done, should be done, and want to continue on that path. Being involved on council and also being involved as a citizen in the council meetings and having watched and listened to everything that has gone on in this town for the last 18 years. It's interesting. I have a lot of knowledge and experience with all our individuals that do actually get involved in this town. And I do also have a lot of friends in this town, and I have listened to what they have and what they want and what they need. We're never going to agree on everything, but that's just part of politics and the town. Thank you.
Candidate Herbert, what makes you the most qualified candidate for this seat?
Well, I think I'm qualified because I've pretty much done it. The last 20 years, I've worked for the city of Pinellas Park and Public Works Department. I've done everything from putting shovel to the ground to, project management, budget management, everything that goes along with city government. And, I just want to continue that side of customer service and bring it to the town I live in, Kenneth City, because, at the end of the day, the customers, the citizens are all we got to rely on, and all we can offer them is customer service. So that's what I want to do. I'm available 24 hours a day. My phone rings sometimes at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, and I respond. Emails get responded to, calls get returned. So I'm just looking to bring some of that here to where I live for the residents and my family. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Roberts, what makes you the most qualified candidate for this seat?
Well, I've lived in Kenneth City for 40 years, and I've been on the previous council for 6 years, as I said before. So I'm aware of what the issues are with the residents, would like to have, the projects and the concerns that our residents do have. I'm a good listener. I get back to people when they ask me things. If I don't know the answer, I find it out, and then I get back to them right away, because everyone wants to have an answer right then. They don't want to wait and be put off. I just want to be the voice of the residents and do a good job for the residents of Kenneth City. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to go on to the 8th question, and I'm going to go with you, candidate Roberts, to start off. What do you view as the most important environmental issue facing Kenneth City, and how do you plan to address it?
The environmental issue, I think, for a lot of us is the electricity. We could do a lot more and save a lot of electricity by going green. We could have the panels put up to help save the cost of electricity, the solar panels for people. I know they're expensive to do, but that would help conserve electricity for the residents. Other than that, I'm not really sure what that would be. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Van der Kooi, what do you view as the most important environmental issue facing Kenneth City, and how do you plan to address it?
I think as far as the environmental issues go, I think that standing water when we have heavy downpours of rain is an environmental issue because it's very unhealthy. It can generate mosquitoes as well as other parasites that we don't want here. So I believe that we need to control the draining and the drainage of our streets as well as our community. And I believe that's probably one of the paramount environmental issues that we have. We don't have a whole lot of environmental issues, but I believe that's probably the most important one.
Thank you. Same question to you, candidate Cummings. What do you view as the most important environmental issue facing Kenneth City?
You know, being such a small town, we don't have a million vehicles running on the street. We don't have a huge environmental issue. But I would agree with Chris, standing water with mosquitoes, that's a huge issue. But I would also say, you know, we could look into, can we put solar on the town hall to save electricity? It's hard to say, you know, they do offer tax incentives for the residents for, you know, putting solar on their homes. Is there a way to work with that to see if there's other solutions? Is there cars that we can, you know, possibly, go off a battery or, you know, to save on fuel? There's just options out there that we can try to look into to try to better the environment.
Thank you. Same question to you, candidate House.
Solar is coming. It's going to be with us. It's got a ways to go. The cost factor is pretty immense, but it'll eventually come down and it'll be more viable. As far as other things in town, just making the public aware of things such as fertilizing, over-fertilizing your lawn, usage of insecticides and pesticides. A lot of people don't pay attention to it or read the label closely. That can be a significant impact on our environment. We are a small town. We have a small amount of cars relatively, so there isn't a whole lot more that we can do. Just being aware of things that we do, like I said, about insecticides and fertilizer, that is significant because that does wind up in the lakes and possibly eventually in the drinking water. Thanks.
Thank you. And the same question to candidate Herbert.
Thank you. Going green's been mentioned a few times. I think there is something there for the solar panels, but that's kind of hot topic right now. So money comes involved with that. Also, there could be opportunities for funding for that, though, I believe. But also, my biggest one is going to be stormwater infrastructure and sewer infrastructure. Now, Kenneth City controls some of the stormwater infrastructure. Walking around the neighborhoods, I see some of that. It may be crumbling or in decay. I know every time we get a light rain, maybe a 10-minute rain, the cones come out, the police cars come out on 58th Street. I think we need to identify and assess the condition of the stormwater infrastructure and prioritize some repairs for that. Also, Pinellas County deals with the sewer. I think we need to get them over here looking into some of our sewer infrastructure. I see dips in the roads, which means there's voids under the roads, crushed pipes. I think we need to look at some of that infrastructure also. And that's what I'll do if I get a chance to get elected, is use some of the contacts I have to maybe make the right calls to get some folks to look out here.
Thank you for that. And now I'm going to go to our 9th and final question, and I'm going to start this with candidate Herbert. The Sierra Club has a national program that's called Ready for 100. That program is dedicated to help municipalities transition to 100% renewable energy by 2050. Would you support the town's participation in the Ready for 100 program?
Well, I've donated to the Sierra Club. I got some of their little bags over there in my living room that I use sometimes when I go shopping. I think the Sierra Club is an excellent organization, and I think 2050 is a good year out there. I know we're kind of far away from that, but I think at the pace that government works sometimes, and the pace of the development of some of these things, and the price coming down to within reason, yeah, I would definitely support that by 2050.
Thank you. And now to candidate Roberts. The Sierra Club has a national program that's called Ready for 100. It's a campaign to help municipalities transfer to 100% renewable energy by 2050. Would you support the town's participation in this program?
Yes, I would support that 100% of that, so that we could save energy here. Will I be around by 2050 to support it? Probably not, but I would support it as long as I was on the council and could do that. Thank you.
And candidate Van der Kooi, would you support the Sierra Club's Ready for 100 program for the town? Why or why not?
I would have to see more documentation on that program. I would also need to speak with the people of the town and do what the people of the town want. This is not a dictatorship, so it really doesn't depend on whether I support it or not. If the majority of the people of this town want that to happen, then I would support that happening. I believe that in 30 years, by 2050, I believe that the technology will probably have improved enough to make it cost effective. And if that's the case, and the people want it at that time, absolutely, I would want that to happen. But if the costs are the way they are right now today, I don't think so. But if the people voted it, then we would do it.
Thank you very much. Candidate Cummings, would you support the town's participation in the Sierra Club's Ready for 100 program? Why or why not?
Yeah, I'd actually like to look into it a little bit more, but I do support that. I mean, anytime you can do anything to help with that situation is an improvement. There's grants out there. There's other support for subjects like that. So I don't think it's out of the question that that's something that could happen given that amount of time. It's important. It would be an asset to Kenneth City, but again, something like that would probably have to come to the vote of Kenneth City. So it would be the people's voice that would make that ultimate decision. But I do agree. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then candidate House, final question to you.
Could you repeat the question again?
Yes, I will. Would you support the town's participation in the Sierra Club program Ready for 100, which is a transition to 100% renewable energy by 2050? Yes or no?
I don't have enough information to give a definitive answer. I support the Sierra Club. I'd like to see what is entailed in meeting that criteria. It sounds great, but again, it always falls back on, can we fiscally do that? It's easy to say that we're going to do something. Can we afford to do it? But as far as the direction that we're going in this country, I'm all for it, and it will come eventually. Will it be in 50 years or 2050? I don't know, but I'm open to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I want to take the opportunity right now to say that if we were in front of a live audience, I would ask them all to give you a round of applause. So just pretend right now you're in the Super Bowl and 100,000 people are cheering for you because you all did a great job. Thanks for participating in this. And I'd like to go and jump right into the closing statements from the candidates. And I'm going to do this in alphabetical order. So it'll be 2 minutes, starting with candidate Cummings. Candidate Cummings.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. This is very important to have these type of discussions. Just a little bit about myself. You know, I've owned a business for 7 years. I work for Pinellas County Schools. I'm in charge of large projects, a lot of project management, low voltage, technology-based projects. Like I said, I'm currently working on a $4.3 million project, redoing the entire video management system throughout the entire district. I work with other staff. I work with engineers. I write specifications. I have a lot of involvement in business. But it's not just that. It's having the knowledge to look through and be very thorough in what you're looking at, budgeting and making the time, putting the effort in to just try to make things happen for it's not just the council, it's not just the mayor, it's the people that get a decision. The people always get the decision on the major choices. It goes through a referendum. They choose. So the people have the voice, but it's good to have the support from the people that have the knowledge and the skills to go forth, work with the grants, work with the town manager, help with the project management, help with the contracting, help with the proposals, help with the communication on the people that can make it happen, having a good relationship with the county. Kenneth City doesn't take it on as a whole. The county is involved in a lot of the situations. So there's a big piece to the puzzle that has to be broke down, and there's a lot of involvement. Things don't happen overnight, but if you work hard and try to put it together, it should happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, candidate Haupt, you have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
To the League of Women Voters and fellow citizens of Kenneth City, thank you for this opportunity to chat with you. Let me finish by reintroducing myself. I'm Lawrence Haupt. I have had the honor and privilege to serve as one of your council members since 2019. I've been a resident of Kenneth City since 1958. That's over 63 years, having attended all the local schools, eventually graduating from Palmer College of Chiropractic. This is where I'm planning to spend the rest of my life. I've had a lifetime of shared history with Kenneth City. Because of that, I have a deep, abiding love for our town. I became involved in Kenneth City government by sitting in and attending almost every council meeting for the last zillion years, getting personally involved in issues and by challenging and speaking up at council meetings. 2 years ago, I assumed the position of councilman where I could have more direct influence on our government. It's been quite a learning experience getting into the nuances, personalities, and budget constraints of managing a town. I found it was a lot easier to dream of all the things that would make Kenneth City the best place on earth to live and confronting sometimes challenging realities in front of us in order to accomplish the goals that were for the people. What I learned is it's a balancing act, requiring a hard look at our citizens' wants and desires versus finances, expenses, tax revenue, and our legal obligations and constraints. It can sometimes be an incredibly thankless job, but I also found it to be most rewarding, and there's so much more to do. We do have a great potential still in front of us. I'd like to be one of the people you have confidence in to continue to enhance our community for everyone. I'm dedicated to this town. I would appreciate your vote on March 9th. Thank you.
And thank you for those comments. Candidate Herbert, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Thank you. I'm a father, a husband, a resident of town of Kenneth City, and I take great honor in running for this council spot. I have 20 years of public service. Public service is my passion. I like to bring that over here into my town, and you know, I want a good life for my family. I love Kenneth City, and I want to be able to have a chance to do that for the residents also. I feel like I can make a difference. I feel like I can make an impact. So please vote for me on March 9th. Thank you.
And thank you for those comments. I'd like to offer 2 minutes for a closing statement to candidate Roberts.
If elected, I look forward to working with the new council to bring changes to the town, along with better communication for our residents. As council members, we're elected to speak to and for our residents and to the other council members. Failure to do that makes people think that we're only there for the money. I've heard that many times over, that we're just on the council for the money and not their concerns. I've been on both sides, a resident and a council member, and I know how frustrating that can feel when no one listens or you don't think they hear you. I would like to be your residents' voice. You deserve responses. I hope you'll vote for me on March 9th and we can work together to make Kenneth City better than ever. Thank you for your support.
And thank you for those comments. Candidate Van der Kooi, you have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
In closing, I'd like to share some of my professional experiences that distinguish me from my opponents. After high school, I served as an airborne infantry paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division. I also have training in the security field, and I have served as a security supervisor for the Tampa Bay Rays, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and my church. I have an extensive background in management and currently work as the assistant market manager for the Southeast region of the United States for the Home Depot, and have been with them for 10.5 years. I am a patriot with a lifelong interest in political science and government. I am highly motivated to be a good servant to our community and this town that my wife, Teresa, and I call home. Some top issues facing our town are lack of transparency and communication between the community and town officials, and our town roads are in need of repair. Some streets need resurfacing, and our sewer drains need repair for safety reasons and the purpose we meet, and I would propose that we meet with the town manager to discuss these things. Also, I propose to improve our website to make it much more user-friendly. We should implement an opt-in text and email alert system to ensure residents will have an opportunity to learn about proposals and be able to respond before the decisions are finalized by the town council. When I'm elected, I will vote to overturn Town Chapter 54, residential parking and vehicles. This chapter is not at all popular with the citizens of our community. Forcing our neighbors to park on the streets makes it unsafe for emergency vehicles to travel our narrow roadways and also makes it less safe for our children to play. Community investment is also needed to offset the rising cost of property taxes every year. I will recommend investment in local properties so that the town can have an additional source of income and stave off yearly increases in property taxes. Finally, my love for our community makes me the perfect choice. When elected, I will bring your concerns and ideas to the council, and I will be your voice. Please vote for Chris Van der Kooi for Town Council on March 9th, 2021. Thank you, and God bless.
Well, I want to take the chance to thank you all for your closing comments. And before I end this session, I'd like to remind everybody out there about some important upcoming election deadlines. You must register to vote before February 6th. Please refer to the website for the League of Women Voters of the St. Petersburg area for information on how and where to register. Please register now to vote by mail. The deadline for registering to vote for a mail-in ballot is February 27th. If you do request a mail-in ballot, we strongly encourage you to request it as soon as possible and return it well before any deadlines. A quick note to the community, there are no early voting sites. And a final reminder, Election Day for this election is March 9th, closing at 5 p.m. I want to take the opportunity once again on behalf of the